Hi, my name is Brian Gannon. I am a EcoSys solution architect with FTI Consulting, and this video is are my top 10 favorite quality of life enhancements additions in EcoSys 9.3, which was released in May of this year, and 9.3.02 was released in August, and my aims, incentives for making this video are A, for fun, and B, to encourage any and all out there to upgrade to 9.3.02 at on the earlier side as much as possible, because really, not since whichever release brought default parameter values with it, which was 8.2 or something like that, somewhere in the eights, I think. Not since then has there been this degree of game change, and this kind of dwarfs that, because like just one or two of any one of the numerous things that have been added in 9.3 rival default parameter values as awesome and revolutionary as those are and were when they were brought in to EcoSys. So and just choosing 10 is really tough because there's just so much. So let's just jump right in here. So number one, no more recursive menu copy. Unless you want to, because there's a server setting now that lets you retain the legacy behavior. But for any folks who are unfamiliar, prior to 9.3, if you made a copy of a menu, and I've already done so here for demonstration purposes with the legacy behavior enabled just for demonstration purposes. But if you made a copy of a menu, you do this and click OK, it would, the EcoSys would make a copy of that menu, in this case, system admin, and all of the menus within the menu you made a copy of. So for your higher level menus, system admin being one such example, that could yield so many net new definitions, such as in this example. I suffixed it with tough demo, and now I have several dozen new definitions. And not only that, again, this is the old world. Not only would it create all of this stuff, but in the thing that you made the copy of, it would, all the things in here in your copy are pointed to the copies. So you would need to make the copy, then repoint all this stuff back to the originals, and then, time permitting, delete the original, delete the extraneous copies made. Well, this doesn't happen anymore. So if I do this, just to prove the point, demo 2, copy operation completed, and the only one in the list is the new copy, which is what I want. And they are all pointed to the only new thing here is this copy of a main menu, and everything within is still what it was, similar to how if you made a copy of a screen layout. So that's awesome. Not something at least in my experience, that I haven't often had to make copies of menus, but it is a relatively frequent thing, especially when you need to make a new security role or what have you. Not having all of that noise coming along with that is awesome. So big improvement there. Number 9, the lineage tooltips. This is really a bug fix. And it didn't, this bug fix came in like 9.2, I believe. So kind of cheating here, but over the last couple months, especially since I was uh, spending a lot of time in a 9.2.01 instance, the absence of the lineage tooltip, what I call the lineage tooltips on formula fields, was really tough because, I mean, unless you made the thing and remember, uh, you have no way without those tooltips of knowing if the cost object ID, let's say, field in this formula is cost object ID or is it related objects, something cost object ID. You wouldn't be able to know. In 9.3, it's actually redundant. It's moot now because of this awesome new grid that is on most config element definitions. So we don't even need that tooltip anymore because you don't even need to hover over to see where it came from. It's right here in this new second column. But still, that's just so nice to have that information back uh, because without it, stuff becomes very challenging. Number 8, the ability to add parameters to a formula and not have to then visit every single configuration element that has that formula in order to avoid error messages that will, if nothing is done, the end user will inevitably encounter because you added a parameter to a formula that is used all over the place. And this is huge because, so just to demonstrate quickly, and I'll try to reset. Well, actually, I don't even need to do that. So if we come here, so this is what I had just added. So if I add another parameter here, and let's see, just copy paste that, and I'll just leave it as a cost object. And so in the old world, so we come back here now. It's definitely not updated yet because I haven't refreshed or anything. But in the old world, no matter, the only way that that new parameter would show up here would be if I came to this thing, clicked in here, and reselected it. Okay, and until then, I would either the thing wouldn't function as I intended it to. Worst case, it throws an error when it is run by a business user because the parameters required or what have you. But now, um, here it is. I didn't have to do anything. So that's fantastic. And it opens up a ton of possibilities, right? Because speaking for myself at least, there have been numerous occasions where, geez, I want to do X, but I just can't because the overhead involved in having to visit, who knows, it's a formula, but it's like, it's so fundamental to so many things. And if you add a parameter, you'll you're too afraid because it touches so many things. So this is huge. Number 7, something that is mentioned in the release notes, but I don't know if it. Uh, Long story too long, didn't read version. Pick lists are automatically searched. Folks that have used EcoSys for any length of time are familiar with the training point of, hey, when you first click on an ellipsis to bring up some sort of pick list, what you're going to see is this, but minus the choices. And we have to train end users to, okay, yes, click on the magnifying glass to see what the pick list is. It's a simple one additional click, but no one wants to, it's just not a good experience to come somewhere and you click on a ellipsis, a drop down, and you don't see anything. And so in 9.3, you don't have to do that anymore. You come to the thing and it just the values pop up. So that's huge. It's a subtle thing, but this this is more an end user enhancement versus a configurator enhancement. But it is fantabulous. So that's that. Number 6, parameter captions, which are great because I'm going to try to demo that here. Looks like we've got a missing link there, but if let's see here, COM A10. Should have tried to have this open already, but let's see, just jump over to the screen layout register. And what was that? What was that? So this, I'm going to pivot to a quick enhancement request that I will get onto ideas. But I think it was in version 9.0 when this pop-up ceased to be selectable, as in I can no longer highlight this and then Control C so that I can Control V it into here. And that's been, I've missed that a lot. And so if there's some way to get that back, that would be swell. So COM A10, and if we come here and go to parameters, and we will just throw this in here. This is great because there is just no other way to say anything about a given parameter short of trying to cram it into the caption somehow, which that I've done that because that really was the only option. And so now we have this, which is fantastic. And with that, this is probably, I'm going to have to hit refresh here. And I also like how it's been implemented, assuming, wait, did I do that right? Did I do that right? COM A10 commitment sections. COM A10 commitment sections. Did I save it? Yeah. I've got my tooltip there. Well, maybe I didn't do that. Maybe I missed something here because what's supposed to happen is it pops. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's a little weird. But when you hover over the right spot, it pops right up. There's no delay. That's what I was trying to show. But yeah, like that may be in a future version. No matter where you're mousing over here, the tooltip can pop up. But that it is there, period, is huge because context is everything, and kind of help when the end user really needs that help is key in my book, and this is a good example of that. I think. Hey, what does this thing do? Oh, there's a tooltip right there. It popped right up, and I didn't even have to wait. So, and I like that kind of tealish, bluish background. It reads well. Number 5. Another simple thing, but also huge. That being these metadata fields on last updated by both the who and the when. These used to, as some may recall, those used to be in the various dictionaries. If you hovered over an item, it would have that information in the tooltip, in that tooltip. That went away, I think, in version 9. And then, but these were not here yet. So I very much missed that information, much more so than one of those things like you don't really appreciate it until it's gone, and then it's like, oh no. Yeah. Uh, so, so the fact now that it's back, A, and B, it's not a tooltip anymore. It's simply this, and that just is that much easier since I don't have to hover over or what have you. Is fantastic. So thanks EcoSys folks for adding this. Number 4, screen layout event reordering. So this is purely a configurator facing enhancement, but even so, it's fantastic because even though moving these things up and down has no functional effect, it's not like conditional format rules where the sequence very much matters. Here, it doesn't matter at all, but as the configurator, I want to just sort of have things arranged the way I want, so I know that I didn't forget something. Case in point being, oftentimes on screen layouts we have a save on, a save, I'll just add one, an after save event, which is not populating here because I have to choose a certain panel. But folks who've used the tool know what I'm talking about. If I create a screen layout event that kicks off an action batch upon the end user clicking save on a spreadsheet, let's say, I'll often have that event and then another event that is where the source panel is that action batch, and then it's an after run, and then usually it'll be a refresh of whatever screen they saved. But I want those two things together: the after save and after run, just so I know that I can look at it and at a glance know I've got all of the events that I need for a given layout. So that's just a really neat, again, quality of life add that is really cool. Number 3. So getting into the big hitters here. So number 3, and this one isn't even in the release notes. Like some of the best things aren't even are total surprises. They're not even mentioned. And that is, oh my gosh, check it out. I'm just picking something at total random here. I can, when I add those, they get added where my focus was. That's amazing. This is not the best, this particular spreadsheet is not the best example, but we all know there are many within standard product and in our own homegrown configurations, et cetera. We've got definitions that have dozens and dozens of fields, and it just throws you off when, or at least it throws me off when I'm somewhere. Often in forms is really what I'm thinking of when I say this, uh, because when you are in a form, it's easy to lose kind of your orientation. I'm trying to bring up a quick form here. Let's go to project setup. And by the way, this is a out of the box standard product 4.3.1 instance. This is all demo data. No real actual data is in this instance. So something like this. That looks very different than this. And so now we know how this gets to what it looks like in the form by way of line breaks and column breaks, etc. But when I want to add something in a certain spot in the form, it throws me off when I click the plus and the new thing's all the way down here, and then you gotta bring it back up, and are you bringing it? Is it in the right spot? It ends up being a lot of trial and error type of stuff, um, just to make sure you do it, you save it, you hit refresh. Oh, and it's not in the right spot. You have to go back and blah blah blah. So the fact that you can just you're where you are, and click, I add something, and it just pops in wherever my focus was. Awesome. Number two, another another undocumented, as in not in the release notes, feature, but game changing in my humble opinion, and that is, hey, if I had a nickel for every time that I made a copy of a field and then hit save and got the pop up like, hey, the ID of such and such column is identical to such and such other thing because the copy I made before pre 9.3, this ID would have just said portfolio, like the thing that I just made a copy of. But now it automatically adds the suffix of copy so that I can just save it. Now it's going to give me that this is another message. I actually did put in an idea on this, and I think it got shot down. I have to pitch it again, I guess. But and that was, hey, maybe when we add stuff, it can come in as read only by default, so that we don't get the pop up that I just got there, where it complains because I have two things that are referencing something and they're neither is read only and blah blah blah. But that's not what we're talking about here. What for case in point here, it's the fact that that copy gets appended automatically. I picked a bad example because I picked something that throws up a pop up anyways, but hopefully folks get the idea. So here, uh, did I just do what? So see here. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So let's copy because I made another copy. So so let's just get those out of there. And so yeah, so that's just something as basic as that saves. That's going to save so much time. So so that's great. And last but not least, drum roll number one is, and I thought in the last monthly roadmap session that Travis Stoner and the product team at Hexagon do, which have been great. Uh, Travis mentioned this, but I thought he was referring to 9.4. But happy surprise, it's in 9.3, and that is, oh my gosh, oh wait, maybe I fooled myself. Maybe it really is 9.4. No, okay, I'm not. That was so. As I switch tabs here, I don't know why it didn't do it that very first time, but as I switch tabs here, notice that the focus stays the same. That is, as I said on that last monthly roadmap call when Travis demoed this, I fell out of my seat because if I had a nickel for every time that I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to check some column filter. I'm going to check a column filter. I'm going to check an edit setting or whatever it is. And I realize, oh, wait a second. I get it's like something where a lot of columns and you find the one you want. And then you realize, oh, wait, but I'm on the columns tab. I need to be on the column filters tab. And then you click to the column filters tab and now you're all the way back. The focus automatically changes to the first column. And you've just wasted the time spent finding the thing you want, which in that particular instance is maybe 10 seconds, but you multiply that over dozens, hundreds, thousands of occasions where you did that. So for me, 9+ years, thousands has to be that. That's now not going to happen anymore. So that is did it stay there? Yeah. So that's awesome. And those are just 10. And I'm there are I could come up with 10 more easily. I haven't even talked about like column templates and parameter templates. Like those are like these aren't even like the headline features in 9.3, of which there are several, like column templates, parameter templates, um, um, the new mobile calendar view. There's numerous. But in addition to those, the reason that, for me at least, I'm throwing it out there loudly to folks in the community: upgrade at your earliest practical convenience, because these are you just don't want to spend the time doing things that you're not going to have to do anymore come 9.3. Like, hey, I want to add a parameter to that formula, or I want to standardize the columns that appear to the end user when we're talking about commitments or whatever the case may be. You just want consistency within the tool, and now there in 9 as of 9.3, there are real deal ways to make that a reality, short of keeping track of it all um, offline, in a spreadsheet or something, which that's hard to do on a good day. Uh, and the config merge utility, another huge improvement over the pre 9.3 era. Um, uh, Another, let's see, so the honorable mentions, I'll call them, but I've already gotten, there could be so many. Dragging and dropping uh, columns like this, pretty cool, right? The reason I don't have this in top 10 is only because, well, you already had this, and if you hold down shift and do this, it jumps up and down by increments of 5. So you know, it's not as much of a sorely needed thing, but it's cool, right? So that's great. Um, Boolean parameters, which I haven't really played with yet, but that's super cool. I don't even know how to actually set one up, so I probably shouldn't have even mentioned that, but I know there's a way to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet. But there's been numerous situations where I've wanted a Boolean parameter and haven't been able to do it because it's not a feature. So that's great. And last but not least, um, uh, on allowable value reports, you can now. So I've tweaked. Uh, oh, see, I broke something because I put this. Let's see if I can unbreak it by taking these off. Which now I don't have to go to the report that has that, or any objects that have that formula, because in 9.3 you don't have to do that anymore. So now if we try this again, hopefully I didn't break it too bad. And okay, last but not least, AV reports, where you can have hierarchy, but the stuff that shows that is higher than the lowest level is not selectable. Huge. So I can pick one of these, but I can't pick this, and I can't pick this, and I can't pick this. In pre 9.3, you could pick these things, the higher level things, which more often than not, you don't want the end user to choose. You want them to choose the lowest thing, and then for various reporting purposes, the higher things are for rolling up and whatnot. One minor, hopefully maybe in a later release, we can have an additional feature here by which this could be kind of expanded all by default. That would be neat. Right now, when you come here, it's collapsed by default. But hey, that's cool. It's all right. Like it's miles beyond where we were before, which was uh, trying to demonstrate that real quick. I'll just set this back to so the AV report. I made a copy of the AV report that's on this in out of the box standard product. So to actually do what I just showed you, you make an AV report and you have to put it in hierarchy mode as opposed to list mode. So this is the one that is out of the box standard product. This is the one that I made, the copy that I made. So, but what that looks like before this feature is if I come here and so just put this back to the what it originally was, and little training tidbit here while we're here. Don't be fooled when you do that. See how it's not really there. So go here. Yeah. So don't be fooled when you change. That'll also happen. And when you change an AV report or a default value report or whatever, um, uh, and it'll look like the parameters populated, but it's not really. You have to reselect it. So, but what that pick list would have looked like before that new feature would be this, and this is right. Like I'm not everything here is selectable. Like it's okay for me to select it, but I really can't tell what the overall structure is. Yes, there's these parental lineages in parentheses, but it just doesn't work. Visually, it's much more communicative to the end user if this is showing as a hierarchy. Again, it will be super, super cool if, in addition to being able to have the hierarchy display in the pick list, to have it expanded, fully expanded by default. That would be great. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Again, upgrade. I strongly suggest upgrading to beginning your cycle for upgrading to 9.3 at the soonest opportunity, because the volume of time saving features in here relative to even the version immediately before 9.2.02 is non-trivial. These are really kind of game-changing things. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.